Hey Vince, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. We're just waiting for a few more members of the committee to
Okay,
join in, and then I'll go through our preamble, call the meeting to order, all that, and then we will get to your project.
sounds good.
Cool. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Um, this is our February 19th meeting of the Historical Ohio City Design Review Advisory Committee. I'll just go through the preamble real quick, and then we will call the meeting to order, do roll call, and then hear our first and only agenda item for today. So to go through the virtual meeting regulations and procedures, actions during the meeting will be taken by roll call vote. Recusal due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the start of any presentation. The recused committee member will then leave the meeting for the duration of the case discussion. The chair will call the meeting to order and ask for roll call of the committee. The administrator will introduce the first project. The meeting will then be turned over to the applicant to proceed through their presentation. Each presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the committee. Once the presentation is concluded, the administrator will provide background information and will read any received public comment when applicable. The committee will then begin deliberations and project review. Please use the raised hand feature if you'd like to speak. After deliberations and review concludes, the committee will render its recommendation and/or motion. The applicant may leave the meeting after their project review is complete. All projects will follow the same format until all projects are heard by the committee. Once all projects are heard, the chair will call for any committee/administrator reports, and after all reports have been heard, the chair will adjourn the meeting. Regarding community comments, any and all community members may provide their written comments, thoughts, or questions regarding projects presented to the committee. Community members may also telephone their comments or questions through to the committee administrator. All comments, thoughts, or questions must be submitted to the committee administrator no later than 48 hours prior to the start of the meeting. Public comment received after the deadline will not be heard by the committee. Public comment will be collected by Landmark staff and sent to the committee members for review prior to the scheduled meeting. Landmark staff will summarize the received comments during the meeting. The applicant of the project is under no obligation to answer community questions. Community members are invited to attend the Design Review Advisory Committee meetings, but there will be no open public comment period. Regarding the design review guidelines, all projects are being reviewed using the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation and are being considered for the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness. All projects are considered on a case-by-case basis. Presentations were received and distributed to committee members for review prior to the scheduled meeting. Changes to the presentations after confirmation of receipt by Landmark staff are not shown today. The Historical Ohio City Design Review Advisory Committee makes recommendations to the Cleveland Landmarks Commission. These recommendations are not final actions. Depending on the scope of the project, submissions may be approved administratively or will need to be reviewed by the Cleveland Landmarks Commission. If that's the case, projects will be scheduled at the next available commission meeting after an action is taken. As always, we have the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation available to be pulled up if there are any questions regarding their applicability during the meeting, I'm happy to refer back to this slide. So without further ado, Madam Chair, if you want to call the meeting to order, I'm happy to do roll, and then we can move to our first project.
Sure. Calling today's Historic Ohio City Design Review Advisory Committee meeting to order. You can call the roll.
All right, Ms. Anderson,
Here.
Ms. Flaherty,
Here.
Mr. Frondorf,
Here.
Ms. Lamb, Margaret. All right, I don't know if you said something. I see you, but
Here.
thanks. Mr. Miller, Ms. Myers,
Here.
Mr. Persons,
Here.
and Ms. Marinucci.
Here.
And Madam Chair, we do have quorum. So we'll call our first agenda item. It's case HOC 26-03 at 5016 Lorraine Avenue, the Lorraine Avenue Historic District. We have Vince Morelli here. So Vince, if you want to walk us through your presentation, just let me know and you want me to advance through the slides.
Okay. So yeah, I'm proposing to demolish the building on 5016 Lorraine Avenue. You can go to the first slide. It's located on the corner of, or close to the corner of 50th, West 50th and Lorraine in Cleveland. You can go to the next slide. This is the last business that was in the space. It was operated from the 1940s to 2007, and since then the property has been vacant. You can go to the next slide, please. This is the current facade and what the building currently looks like. You can move on. This is, we received a letter from an inspector, I believe a violation as well for the hazardous condition of the building, mostly the parapet wall in the front being supported by the building behind it, which is the roof is caving in or has caved in. So basically, or obviously a hazard, and would like to get this taken care of as soon as possible. This is the kind of layout of the property. The front building here in red is the one we're proposing to demolish. The back two structures, for the time being, we would like to leave up and eventually rehabilitate those two buildings and eventually rebuild a building on the front of the property as well, where the current structure is. The highlighted red area is the point of issue from the inspector. And the, oh, sorry, you could go back one actually. Yeah, so these two buildings in the back, one is a concrete block building, 3-car garage structure that needs a roof replacement, and the one in front of that is just like a steel overhang. That's, yeah, you can move on. Thank you. This is just highlighting the point of distress, I guess, of the building and how the condition it is in is pretty poor. And yeah, I think all you guys saw it in person as well. So is again highlighting those back two buildings. And then, yeah, once we hopefully demolish the front building, we would like to just put up some kind of temporary fence until we move on to building a new structure. We currently use the metal overhang in the back of the property to store firewood for the pizza oven next door, and just to have some kind of lock on the front of the property is what we would be looking to do. So that's the structure we'd like to demolish in the front. And during demolition, we would keep the equipment and the dumpster behind the building or in the driveway.
I just wanted to chime in from Landmark staff perspective and mention we did have a site visit, as Vince mentioned a few weeks ago. One of those cold, snowy days. Yeah, it's the front structure of the roof has essentially completely collapsed. We weren't really able to go inside. It was more like a stand in the back door and look in because it was so far gone. So, while we hate to lose any structure on Lorraine Avenue, this one seems like it's beyond saving at this point. So, we look forward to seeing what the future holds for the property and would love to see a new building built in its place. But I think our biggest question is just sort of what that temporary fence looks like. So,
Okay.
interested to hear from the committee what you guys would prefer to see there.
If we could jump in, just so we can develop a record here, I agree this seems very likely to be appropriate for demolition, but so that the record reflects why, can you tell us how the structure came to be in its current state of affairs?
Honestly, when I purchased it, it was already like that. It was covered by a tarp, and the whole roof was already collapsed.
When did you purchase it?
21, I believe.
Was there a fire there at some point?
No.
What steps have you taken with the property since 2021, or the last 4 or 5 years?
I've actually done this review in the past to talk, or maybe it wasn't a review, it was a meeting with Landmarks to see if I could demolish the building. So I've attempted to, and then I think just me, I was just like super busy and was running the business. So what I took away from the meeting was they wanted to see a full plan in place for like what was going to be built and an architectural plan for that before I could make any progress on demolition. I don't think there was like a full, like no one came out or anything like that. I think it was just like a meeting or something. I can't remember exactly who it was with, but that was my takeaway from that. And I just didn't have the time or the resources to put that together. So revisiting it now to try to clean it up.
Yeah, and Alex, just to I guess jump in again from talking to Landmark staff and looking at our records, it does appear that we prior to me, being involved, Landmark staff did meet with Vince and discussed the idea of demolition, kind of understanding that the building was pretty far gone at that point. And yeah, I believe it was given the feedback that we'd like to see what is going to be replaced, and so he wasn't ready to move forward with anything on that, so it's just sat. And then now that the city's cited him for the unsafe condition, it's kind of spurring him to want to move forward with the demolition, even though there's no final plan for the property.
Yeah, I agree. It's beyond repair, and it's also in its current state not contributing anything to the historic district. I was just trying to. We do get a lot of demolition requests, make distinctions here, lay the appropriate record. So if we decide as a group to allow this, and someone else comes, we have the distinguishing facts prepared.
Cool.
one of the factors in the design review code is, as Dan just mentioned, the appropriateness of the proposed reuse of the property. And that's the seventh and last factor. Can you talk to us a bit more about the proposed reuse of the property and a timeline if one exists?
Yes. So what I'm hoping to do in the near future is to create like a sister concept to the current restaurant I have next door. It would be more of like a daytime thing because we're like more of a nighttime restaurant. It would be focused on like some European grocery deli type of space, offering lunch, and we would combine the outdoor spaces through the fence behind the pizzeria at 5010 Lorraine. Um, Creating outdoor space, possibly like an outdoor bar area. Um, yeah, so like shared patio and
Is there a timeline for that?
I would my my plan is to start designing and getting like architects involved to create like a what that looks like and come up with a financial plan for it. I don't really know what that will cost yet, so depending on that and if it's financially feasible, then I'll decide if I'll move forward with that or not. If I end up not moving forward with that, I'll probably sell the property. But most like, I mean, that's my goal, that's my plan, and I feel like it is feasible. I just don't have a exact timeline.
All right, my final question, then I'll stop. Can you talk to us about what you had a proposed fence or screening on
Mhm.
one of the prior images? What is that going to be, or what do you intend for that?
Um, I was intending to have a matching fence as our patio in the rear of Sense Pizza, which is like a off-white like corrugated fencing, but I'm open if there's requirements I'm not really sure of. So it's kind of looking to see what was allowed and not allowed.
I'll just throw out an option here for everyone else to consider if, um, a, um, and I'm not wed to this, but a temporary, maybe 6 foot tall wood fence, but the permit or the authorization for that would expire after pick a period of time, 12 months, to come back so that it doesn't stay there in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Would be a good, option to work with you, but not to have something there that's there forever.
Okay. Um, would is that just the preferred like
No,
aesthetic?
it was just a more natural material to the corrugated metal, though I'm not admittedly, I don't have that on my screen. I don't know what
Yeah.
that looks like.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure something that might be more appropriate for the historic district, but again, I'm not wed to that.
Okay. Would it help if I maybe showed you guys the fence in the current patio outside?
Yeah, I would like to
Sure.
see that.
All right, cool.
And I think it's actually, is it more of a fiberglass material?
No, it actually is corrugated metal now. We did have
Okay.
we did have like a greenhouse material on the right side.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would be cool too. This is the current, so it's just like metal.
Well, I think that,
But
oh, I think we lost him.
May have gotten too far from the router.
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is, while I think that that makes a great interior space, I worry that having this big corrugated, kind of impermeable fence right on that sidewalk is going to be pretty austere and kind of, I mean, I know it's probably an improvement, but just a little bit lifeless. I think something wooden, a little bit softer would probably do better for this application.
Okay. Mm,
But I'd like
Yeah, I mean,
to
I can't say.
see what other
I
people
mean,
think.
yeah, if anyone else has any opinions on that, I feel like I ca I just feel like a wooden fence kind of looks out of place on the street, but I, I, I mean, I guess
Uh,
that's open for
it could be
discussion.
something metal, but I just think, you know, having this big, you know, a 6 foot or 8 foot tall wall with no penetrations, it's just gonna feel kind of like a little bit, I don't know, austere, like I said, for lack of a better word.
I actually like the corrugated metal fence. A wood fence kind of reads a bit residential for me on the corridor, but I'm wondering if maybe a different color than white would give it a little bit more life on the street.
Yeah,
So maybe that would be a nice balance.
maybe something to match the storefront.
What about
Yeah,
that you pick a material of your choosing, but then you have uh, a banner that both advertises your company and has a little more color or interest to it. You could even have a coming soon part of it.
yeah, that's a possibility too. Have something painted on it or something.
Yeah, I think I agree with Whitney that the wood feels a bit more residential, and I'm not opposed to the corrugated. And I do think a color, I mean, you could do like your Sense red, just something, if they have that option, would be really cool. And use it as signage, use it as, and activate it a little more.
Is everyone comfortable with the fence being at the property line, or is some sort of setback feel more appropriate here? Or since it's temporary, does the at the street level make it feel a little more like coming
The
soon?
current,
Temporary
the current building is set back slightly off of the sidewalk, so I could just put it where it is.
Yeah, so this is my question is if it's a temporary fence, if we're talking a wooden fence, typically those have posts that are going down into the ground, which makes that a much different proposition than something like a, corrugated that you can do with ground mounted, you're not actually digging down the frost. It's a much different proposition if we're talking a wood versus call it a metal fence. They can be installed a little differently. To me, putting that back further off the street opens it up to, at least for me, a little bit more options aesthetically because it's not on the rain. If it's on the rain, I think we would want to see what it's actually going to be before approving it. But if it's pushed back, say 10 feet, 15 feet off the frontage, it could be wood and black. It could be corrugated. It could be, it could be several things and be acceptable, at least to me, because it's not dominating the street frontage.
Can Chris, I like all those comments. Can I make a suggestion that we parse out the demolition and then the fence, and then we vote on the demolition, and then we request the applicant come back with some more studies and options for the fence within the next 30 to 60 days?
I agree.
Yep, that sounds good.
Yeah.
May I make a motion, or is more discussion warranted? Okay, I will make a motion to permit demolition, finding that the building is not currently contributing to the historic district and that it is beyond repair and that is of no fault of the owner. I'll leave that alone and then I'll make a second motion after this one.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
All right. Not seeing Any other hands or hearing other comments? Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Flaherty?
Yes.
Mr. Frondorf?
Yes.
Ms. Lamb?
Yes.
Ms. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Persons?
Yes.
And Ms. Marinucci?
Yes.
Madam Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Great.
I'll make, if it's okay, a second motion. That by, let's say, the end of April of this year, the applicant return to Landmarks, to Dan or Jessica, with a proposal for the temporary fence. And then that be brought before this committee. Is that enough time? Or is that good, or is that appropriate?
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
was
think
just going to
that's
say we might
fair.
assign that a separate case number just to, since we're having separate actions, but we can worry about that administrative stuff.
Okay.
I second.
Sorry, just catching up with my writing. All right, any other comments?
Dan, does that, just as a point of order, do we need to, I think Alex's proposal that Vince come back, in 12 months and update us on development plans, does that need to be part of a motion now, or is that?
You could add that into the motion, or that could be sort of a stipulation of the fencing when that gets approved, that it, is only good for X amount of time, and then you expect to see some sort of progress.
Okay.
I'll leave that up to you.
I'm fine when we vote on the fence permit or whatever it ends up being, that we put a timeline on it, that it expires after 12 months or whatever period of time this group feels is appropriate.
I agree.
Also, there
Yeah.
there was there was some mention that there could be potential for art or branding on the fence. So Vince, if you wanted to, if that's something that you wanted to do on it, and when you come back for the fence materials, to also propose that, if that's something you want to move forward with, so you don't have to come back a third time to have art approved. It would just save some time, because we actually do have to approve like signage and murals and things like that.
Okay. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
I'm
And you
I'm
guys
thinking
will,
if that's the case.
send that deadline over that I need to have the fencing, the meeting. Will that be just me scheduling another design review meeting?
Yep. Yeah, just
Okay.
you can even submit another application through Jessica just for the fence. We'll get
Okay.
that taken
Sounds
care of.
good.
All right, any other thoughts, questions, comments? All right, Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Flaherty,
Yes.
Mr. Frondorf,
Yes.
Ms. Lamb,
Yes.
Ms. Myers,
yes.
Mr. Persons,
Yes.
and Ms. Marinucci.
Yes.
And the motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you, Vince. We'll be in touch in the next day or two about next steps, but I think we have you penciled in for Landmarks Commission next week to get you through the process.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you all for passing that, and thanks for meeting with me. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
I have to jump to another meeting, so do you mind if I call it to order? Or do we have any business?
I'm fine with calling to order. I've got no administrative
Or
report.
call adjourning? What do we call it again?
Adjourn, rest. Yeah, that's the one.
I'm new here. Okay, we'll call today's Historic Ohio City Design Review Advisory Committee meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone call 311.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.